Hi, welcome back to Writer's Block. I'm Lee and today I have a TBR video. To make it easier for me to pick which books I want to read, I decided to make my own board of Becca's Bookopoly. I'll put a link to her video in the description. So I based it off of that, putting some of the similar prompts and stuff she's got on there, but then basing it off of my own TBR because we don't have exactly the same taste. So most of my TBR for today is based off of that. So I've got 8 books in total for this video. The 8th book being our next book for our book club. So I'll start with that one. The book we're reading next, as picked by the members of the club, is Clara and the Sun by Kaizu Ishiguro. So this is a bit of a literary sci-fi. It's from the point of view of an artificial intelligence, like a robot. And so this robot, Clara, is sitting in a store waiting to be bought and is like desperate to be a friend of someone and have an owner and actually be part of society, as she's kind of like her worldview from the store shelf as she's seeing all these people shopping and just a look at human nature through a computer's eyes kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure what the sun has to do with this book. It does look like it'll be quite a rather sad book and not very heavy on the sci-fi, but it's also quite short. It's only 300 pages, but the audiobook is 10 hours, which is a little bizarre. On to the ones that I have to read based off of the copy board. The first one I landed on a community chest. So these ones have prompts, and this one I put the prompt as a book that has witches or wizards in it. And I know quite a few of my books on my TBR do have witches or wizards, but I'm not entirely sure which ones do. So I decided to go with the graphic novel that's called Witchy, because I'm like, surely if it's called Witchy, it's got witches in it. By Ariel Salamat Rees. So in this world, the strength of your magic is based on how long your hair is, so the longer your hair, the stronger your magic, up to a certain point. If your hair is too long, you're considered too powerful and therefore too dangerous, and you're killed. So we're following our protagonist as she's about to go through a conscription to decide if she's powerful enough to join like the army, or if she's just nothing, or if she's too powerful and has to be killed off. And she has to decide if she wants to join them or not, because her father was killed by these people. So she's like, do I join the government and like help them the fight, or do I stand by my values and then potentially put her own life at risk? The next prompt I landed on was audiobook, and so I have a little cup of all the books I have saved on script for audiobooks, and the one I picked out for that was The Disasters by M.K. England. So this is a YA sci-fi following our protagonist Max, who has just been kicked out of this station academy, and he's on his way back to Earth after failing with some other people who've also failed when the academy is attacked by terrorists. And as a result, him and the other dropouts are the only witnesses to this tragedy, but they end up becoming the scapegoats for it and are blamed for it, so they have to go on kind of a heist, clear their name and also bring justice to the people who have actually died and been a victim of this attack. So I'm expecting there's going to be some more gritty themes and some morally grey characters on this, but unfortunately the reviews for this book aren't good. The next book I'm reading isn't actually one that I picked from Bookopoly, it's just because I need to finish the series and the TV show's out. And it is Ruin and Rising by Lee Bardugo. So that is the 3rd book in this series, so obviously if I describe the plot, it's going to spoil things. But I'm hoping that maybe it'll shed some more light as to why people like The Darkling so much, because so far I do not understand it at all. The next prompt I landed on for Bookopoly was read a sci-fi, and so for that one I've chosen the next book in the Chaos Walking series by Patrick Ness, which is The Ask and the Answering, I think. There is a movie about this starring Tom Holland out. I'm not sure where it's out though, because I can't find anywhere that's actually playing it. I can't find it on any streaming services either, but based on Patrick Ness's Instagram, it is available to watch just somewhere. So again, this is a sequel, so obviously if I describe the sequels, you're going to get spoiled. But the first book, so The Chaos Walking, is a sci-fi set on another planet in which we follow Todd, who in this town he grew up in, there's no women and everyone can hear everyone's thoughts. He was told when he was growing up that there was this disease that killed off all the women and made it so everyone could hear their thoughts. And then at the beginning of the book he comes across a woman and he's kind of confused as to like, how the hell isn't she dead? And also, why can't he hear her thoughts? And so when he reveals this to his parents, they realise he's in danger and that he's actually maybe starting to realise the truth of things. And so they send him off, telling him he has to go over to this city far away and he'll find answers and help there. Because otherwise, if he stays, pretty much him and the girl's lives are in danger. So as he's going through and travelling, he finds out everything he's been told isn't necessarily true. And the town he's grown up in isn't necessarily as nice and friendly as he's been made to believe it is. So the next one I got on Bookopoly was to read a thriller or horror. I don't have like a cup for my thrillers and horrors because I don't have enough of them to fill it up. But I picked a rather short one, which was We Have Always Lived in a Castle by Shirley Jackson. So just like The Haunting of Hill House, this is supposed to be a bit of a gothic horror. And based on the synopsis, it seems a bit more like trying to figure out what's real, just like in The Haunting of Hill House. So it says that Mary Cat Blackwood lives in the family estate with her sister Constance and her uncle Julian. Not long ago there were 7 Blackwoods, until a fatal dose of arsenic found its way into the sugar bowl one terrible night. Acquitted of the murders, Constance has returned home, where Mary Cat protects her from the curiosity and hostility of the villagers. The day passes in happy isolation until their cousin Charles appears. Only Mary Cat can see the danger, and she must act swiftly to keep Constance from his grasp. So I guess it's a bit more of a murder mystery to see who actually did commit murders. And from what I've heard, it's also a bit of a ghost story. Overall, the ratings are very good, which I would probably expect from a classic. So the next space I landed on Bookopoly was read a book by an author of colour. So I'm going to read Dry by Neil Schusterman. I have since found that even though Neil Schusterman isn't white, he doesn't actually identify as a person of colour. He is 50% North African, I'm not sure what the other half is, but he doesn't identify as a person of colour and doesn't like being listed as own voices in books because his books don't feature race as a storyline in the books, they don't centre ethnicity and whatnot. I'm still going to read it for this prompt though, because I do have a lot of Neil Schusterman's books, and I need to actually start it and read at least one of them first. So this one's actually by him and his son, Jared Schusterman. So this one's a post-apocalyptic YA, in which a drought has kind of dried out the world. And so now it's kind of a fight for survival and fight to get water between like friends and families and people you used to trust. And so our protagonist, Alicia, she finds that her local town ends up spiraling into a war zone and her family ends up going missing. So she has to go on a hunt with her younger brother to go search for water and find her family again, and has to make some rather tough choices of survival. So the last book I have to read is a YA fantasy, and so for this one I got Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. So in this world we've got a character whose name I can't pronounce, Karu, I think, in which she's a 17-year-old girl who lives with chimeras. And in this story, chimeras are people who are part animal, part human, and they're magical beings. You can get wishes from them in exchange for giving your teeth up. And Kairu is the person who has to go and collect these teeth from the chimera's customers. But she doesn't actually know what the chimera used the teeth for. She just knows there's rules that they're not allowed to give baby teeth and they're not allowed to be rotting teeth. And then while she's on one mission to collect a debt, she finds out some truth about why these rules exist and what they use for the teeth for. And she also comes in contact with another mythical, magical being who she has some weird, unexpected connection with. And so after this, she's kind of having to decide if she wants to stick to the human world or go into the magical elsewhere, which is kind of a war-torn and much more dangerous world, but has the possibility of revealing the truth about her existence and where she comes from. This is an extremely beloved YA series. It doesn't get as much hype as Laini Taylor's later books, such as Stranger the Dreamer, but it was the ones that originally made her famous. Pretty much everyone on BookTube has read it before, and they will love it. And I feel like I should maybe read it before Stranger the Dreamer, which is kind of like her most loved book ever and is said to be extremely beautiful. So hopefully I'll like it just as much as everyone else. So that is all the books for this TBR. So don't forget to like and subscribe. There will be links to our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and our website down in the description. And we'll see you next week with a video from Chris.